All right, everybody. The Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche played to a pretty entertaining 3-1 Avalanche win for another preseason game and preseason action for the Avs. This was really the first game where most of the Stars or most of what you're going to see this Avalanche team look like played in this game. So you really wanted to turn your attention to and kind of watch this game. So you're really seeing guys like Cale Makar for the first time. Obviously, guys like Gabe Landeskog are not going to be there because he's missing the opening, whoever knows how many games. But you turn to want to watch this game, and it was a challenge to watch this game. But we were able to. Thank you, Dallas Stars Twitter feed. But this is a problem. So we'll talk about the game, and we'll talk about why people can't watch it. And is this something that the NHL needs to address on top of whatever else we get to today? But it is another game in the hopper. One more game in the hopper, and then regular season, real games are just another day closer. Let's get to it.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Might have only been a preseason game, but it was a divisional rival preseason game, which most of these preseason games are. I mean, yeah, you get the Avalanche in Vegas, which that's a rivalry too. Most preseason games are against your teams within your division, and these two teams are ready to go. You saw it kind of as the game went on more into the third. You saw a little bit of fists flying around, and Curtis McDermott was ready to throw down. He was at game number 33 in the season. Like he wants fists immediately. But it didn't happen. I think cooler heads prevailed. But first things first, thank you for tuning in to Locked On Avalanche, making it your first listen of the day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You can find us on our social media channels, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram, questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. All right, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, 3-1 win for the Avs. Really, everything kind of happened in the third period. The first two periods were kind of ho-hum. But it was, you saw kind of what this Avalanche team can do, because this was minus who? Val Nichushkin, minus Gabe Landeskog, minus
Nathan
McKinnon. You got most of what you're going to see from the Avalanche this year. In net was Pavel Francouz. Excellent job by him. He needed it. I know it's only preseason, but you don't want to have outings for both of these guys. I want to see what Georgiev does in the next game too, because he didn't have a good game clearly his last game either. So just maybe for their psyche and kind of just get into more regular season game mode, you want to see them play a better game, and he did. So we'll get into individual stuff, things like that. But overall, thoughts on the latest preseason game?
Oh, I, of course, overinflated because it's Frankie in net. I mean, let's sing his praises again. Everybody back on the Frankie bandwagon. No,
Yep.
You mentioned this was our first time seeing Cale Makar. It's Taser, and you got Bo Byram out there. Like, you could tell the quality of defense. Like, it was a big change from the previous outings. And I mean, even though we faced 39 shots, you still, you could tell a difference. Like, you could tell Frankie was locked in and more comfortable. And I'm pretty sure we'll see the same out of Georgiev when he gets in goal and has that same quality defense in front of him, because it's a little bit more confidence in who's in front of you. So that was great. Overall, everything was looking good. Like you said, we'll get to individual performances in a minute, but there were some really good individual performances later on in the game. But all in all, this is exactly what you want to see and put the bad taste out of your mouth with those previous games.
I think a lot of people are going to look at the goalie situation first and see that Pavel Francouz played a good game. And yeah, I mean, the Avs had most of their stars and starters playing. So did Dallas. So this was kind of more like a legit game. And he looked good. Yeah, we get 39 shots thrown at you. And we had our three pairings that we're going to see on defense playing. 39 shots. Let's keep that number in our head as the season goes on and see how many teams throw 39 shots on net at the Avs this year. It's not going to be many. So, get it over in the preseason because you're not going to see that likely maybe a couple times during the regular season, I would say.
Yeah, and to give credit on the other side, like this is Ottinger on the other side, and this is what Dallas is going to be building that team around. Like this is their goalie going forward. And for him, I think we had 37 shots, 34, 37 on
I think we
Ottinger.
had 30. 30. We had 30 shots on that.
30.
Yep.
That's still a high number. And for him to look as good as he did, that they could also be walking away feeling as confident in the goalie position going forward. But for Frankie to see that level of shot, you would anticipate that going down. That does not happen against the Avalanche a lot. It's usually in the 20s.
Yeah. So their next game is Wednesday, right? I believe.
Hump day.
Let's just make a big guesstimation here and say that Georgiev has another poor performance. I don't want to say what it was against, Vegas, but let's just say he does. There is going to be people who, and it's not like Francouz has done a bang up job this preseason. This game, he's done very well against Dallas. If Georgiev goes out and lays another dud like he did recently, that there's going to be people kind of saying like, let's start Frankie on day one. It's not going to happen. The Avalanche are pretty set in having Georgiev start day one, unless it is a back-to-back to start the season. So both of these guys are going to play 1-2 for games 1 and 2. And if Jared Bednar wants to switch up, because you're playing Calgary in game 2. So does he want to hold Georgiev to go against Calgary? That's a possibility. And if you see Pavel Francouz playing game 1, people are going to be going, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Is it because he had a good game and Georgiev played 2 poor games in the like there's so much that goes into it. I think you can just put it to, it's not going to happen, but Georgiev is a starter of this team to start the year. If he doesn't play in game 1, it's not because he's not the starter, it's because they play it back to back. Outside of that, he's their guy. And I don't think anything that happens in the preseason is going to change that, at least to start the regular season.
Yeah. And like, I'm the biggest Frankie supporter in the world. He won't change his name to Frankie Von Doom. I tried. He just won't do it. But no matter what Georgiev does in the Hump Day game, he's not going to lose that number 1 spot. And I feel like he's going to be out there for game 1, the banner raising night, because that was Sakic that said, oh yeah, we got him to be the number 1 goalie. So you have that mindset. He's going to be their game 1 goalie number 1. And I feel like he's going to get that start. And that's going to be his prove at night. He could let in another 8, 9, 20 goals in that preseason game. You just have to take it in as this is preseason. He's getting warmed up. Everybody's getting warmed up in game shape. And where you're really going to start weighing what he does is that game 1 when he hits the ice. And then that's where you start going Team Frankie, Team Georgiev all the way through the season. And then everybody can bicker all year long.
Yeah. And it's going to be a bicker fest all season, most of the season, unless one of them, I guess it would have to be Georgiev, unless he's the one that just goes out and just performs night after night, like a man possessed. The talk is not going to die down.
Nope.
So, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun to cover that throughout the regular season. If they're both playing well, the Avalanche clearly win.
Yeah.
If they're both out there playing well and winning games, that's the bottom line. And whoever is anointed 1A, so what? You're both winning. So, all right, we got more to get to in this game, including the scoring, and the majority of it was done by one man, and that one man is Artturi Lehkonen. So we'll talk about that and all of the other usual suspects right now, and the guys like Martin Kaut getting ever so closely to making this team. Did he help or hurt himself? A lot to get to. But first, we're going to be talking about Built Bar. Built Bar. You love Built Bar. Kyle loves the Built Bar, especially the Built Bar Puffs. Is it right back there?
I've got a box right next to the cup.
Oh, man. I mean, you should put the box in that you need
Oh
a
my
Stanley Cup
goodness.
flowing of Built Bars.
That's what I
Make
would
it
do in the
happen.
cup.
But we are into October, my good friend, and October obviously is Halloween season.
Mhm.
And don't get me wrong, everyone loves their candy. Why not hand out some Built Bars instead of your typical candy bars? And you will be known as the house that's handing out the healthy snack instead of the Snickers bar or the Reese's bar. And I'm going to go through a quick chart here to kind of compare what Built Bar and their nutrition facts compared to which one you want, Kyle. A Snickers bar?
Yeah,
And I love me a Snickers bar.
yeah.
Calorie wise, Built Bar 130, Snickers 280. Fat, Built Bar is 2.5 grams compared to Snickers 14 grams. Net carbs, Built Bar's got four carbs compared to 33 for a Snickers bar. Sugar, that's a big one. Built Bar, 4 grams of sugar. Snickers bar got 29 grams of sugar, sir. I don't, and protein, the other big one, 17 grams in a Built Bar, only 4.3 in a Snickers bar. There's really no comparison. There's no
Yeah.
comparison. And it, like I said, every once in a while you like to indulge in like something like that, but you can have a Built Bar and it tastes just like the candy bars that you're handing out on Halloween.
Do it, and I'll knock
Yeah.
on your door dressed as Deadpool and take your Built Bar and go home.
And then I will change into another costume and go to your house again so I can get more Built. I just want Built Bar for Halloween this year.
That's all I want.
And no candy corn. Candy corn is overrated and terrible. That's how I feel. I don't know how you feel.
I disagree.
You're a candy corn fan?
Only at Halloween. It's like turkey at Thanksgiving. I have it once a year and then never again.
We can't get candy corn at any point of the year, can you? I mean, like, do they
Probably.
even sell it?
I don't know.
Probably on Amazon.
Where does it come from?
It comes from Amazon. But go to built.com right now. You can use the promo code locked on 15 and you get 15% off of your order. You can get the Built Bar Puffs. They have a cookie dough chunk puff right now, which is out, and a German chocolate cake, which is not a puff, but that's an old flavor that they brought back. German chocolate cake, fantastic. It's available right now at built.com. Once again, the promo code is locked on 15 for 15% off of your order. All right, so more to get to in this game, and the scoring went like this: Artturi Lehkonen, and then I was Lundqvist hit one for Dallas, and then Evan Rodrigues with an empty netter with 8 or 9 seconds left to really put the game away. But you had Lehkonen with the first two. The first one was a power play goal, all in the third period, by the way. No scoring in the first and second. And then he got another one about 8 minutes later. Assists on those. His first one was assisted by Mikko Rantanen and Ben Myers. The second one was assisted by Evan Rodrigues and Jason Megna. And then the empty netter for Evan Rodrigues was assisted by Cale Makar. So a 2-point night for Evan Rodrigues, which is good. I mean, I think that's still up in the air, that position.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's leaning towards Alex Newhook for some, again, to start the year. It could go anywhere as the season goes along and how those guys perform. And I don't know, just the things that I read, I just kind of get the vibe that it's Alex Newhook. And I'll say this, like, if it's him, you do see a little bit more of jump in his step when he's skating.
Yeah.
It's almost like he has, I don't know if he's been told. I don't think he has been, but it's almost like say he hasn't been told, but it's almost like he knows he's in the driver's seat right now, and he's kind of acting like it the way that he's playing. He's playing with a little bit more attitude, which you like to see out of a young guy like him. But I still think it's up in the air in that they haven't like bestowed that position on one of these guys yet.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's leaning towards Newhook.
You would think, I mean, what a wonderful tale if that does land him the 2C job to start last year in Loveland and come all the way to a 2C role the next year with a cup in tow. That's a good story, but it's nice that he's got a little bit of swagger. Honestly, it's a win-win situation if it's if it's Nui, if it's Erod, if it's JT, there's really, honestly, what you've seen this preseason out of all three, there's really no wrong answer here. It's just how that line works together through the rest of the game. That's what's going to be key. I don't honestly, if Nui's 2C, well deserved. He's had a good preseason, and yeah, I've noticed that buzz. I've noticed his the little pep in his step. So give it to him. I just want to see how he works with his line mates.
Yeah, and and I want to know who those line mates are because we
Mhm.
don't even know that right now.
Yeah,
And that will change
yeah.
after maybe the first week once you have Gabe Landeskog come back and Valanchus can come back. Like the way that the Avalanche look for week one, maybe bleeding into week two, is not how it's going to look at the end of October. I'll say that. How it's going to look at the beginning of October is not how it's going to look at the end of October.
Sounds very familiar to last year.
Yeah. No, it's who was it? Taves and McKinnon, I think. I
Yep.
think both. I know McKinnon did, and I think Taves did too. Started. They did not play the first few games, so it's a wait and see thing for them. You had, I think you're going to be looking at guys like Martin Kaut. Didn't show up on the stat sheet. Only had one shot on goal. Played 15 minutes. I thought I think he's doing enough to grab a roster spot. I don't think he hurt himself in any way against Dallas. It would have been nice to maybe get a few more shots on goal, maybe get a couple more chances. But he's I like his size, I like his ability, and you just want to see him put it all together. He's playing okay. I don't have any complaints about it. Today, I think or last night at this point, I think it was one of the first games where he was just solid from beginning to end and not doing anything to hurt himself, like committing stupid penalties.
Yeah, I get all that. And if you're sitting on the side of the coin that I've been, where it's like you've got to do a little bit more to impress me, it's not moving the needle still. Like there are guys that are definitely making pushes and they're noticeable in their play and standing out and trying their best. Like we just mentioned Newhook, like he's really out there putting an effort. Like just not committing penalties is not enough to earn you a roster spot. Like to go out there and have a clean game, that should be baseline for everybody. That shouldn't be something to commend you for. So he's already started this preseason. It's such a deficit. He's going to have to do something a little bit more for me to be like, yep, roster spot, give it to him. Welcome to the team, Cout. Congratulations. Happy birthday. All that beautiful
Yeah.
bean footage. But no, it's still not enough for me.
Well, I think it's a little bit different when you're talking about a guy who's going to be a fourth liner. Like if he
Yeah.
makes this team, he's going to be on the fourth line. And yeah, it's a different conversation, a different discussion on okay, he's not screwing up. You can have that conversation about a fourth liner. You're not having that about your top line. Like a guy that's on your top line needs to be producing and showing you something. We're going on the fourth line. You have to have the mindset of like, okay, if we put him out there during a regular season game, can he continue to do this? Can he continue to just be out there, good forecheck, get back on D? If you're lucky enough to get some shots on net, you do that. It's a different conversation for him. And I think he's winning that conversation little by little. He's not blowing you away, but at least in the game against Dallas, he was just for what he's going to be asked to do. I thought that was kind of a visual of what he could do for this team on a fourth line role. And I feel that way about Ben Myers too. I thought Ben Myers was out there more. He was
Yeah.
noticeable more. I didn't like in the first couple games, you didn't see him at all. And I think some of that has to do with look who the Avalanche put out on the ice last night
Yeah.
from top to bottom. And I know he's not playing with guys like Lehkonen and Ranton and stuff like that, but it's a completely different dynamic when those guys are out there and they can set the tone and set the trend of the game. And then your bottom six guys can kind of follow that up. And I think it worked to Ben Myers' advantage last night. I thought he played well too.
And that's somebody I would like to see make the roster. If you ask me between Cout and Myers, I'm leaning Myers because I've really enjoyed his play.
Yeah. I think you'll see both of them, and the way that the season's starting, you might see both of them. You honestly might see both because, like we're saying, all the people that could be out for the Avs, you never know. All right, they talked about, they didn't do it in the game last night. Well, first of all, let's talk about streaming this game. And this is an issue that I just feel that like the NHL is not. It's like they don't even care, and I get it because it's a preseason game, but it's content. And
Yeah.
we live in a content driven world right now. Yeah. And people want to see their sports. They don't care if it's the preseason game. They want to see their teams. And I just feel like the NHL is lacking a little bit here. I get it. It's like it's tough. So the Avalanche were the visiting team, right? Um, do you expect Altitude to pack everything up that's required to televise a game, go on the road for a preseason game, which let's get real, like ratings wise are not going to be that big. So I get that. But why can't you kind of utilize the streaming world and utilize YouTube or your website, which you said you were going to put on your website? You go to dallasstars.com and they preview this game. At the very top, they have like the summary for this game, and it says TV, radio. It says none, which was not true. At least for the Avalanche, it wasn't true, because Connor was announcing this game. And then for streaming, it said dallasstars.com. It wasn't on dallasstars.com and ended up being on their Twitter page. That's fine. Like, that's where it should be. Like, promote that. Promote that you can watch this preseason game. You might have to go into enemy territory to watch it, but it's available. And I just feel like they don't do a good job of letting people know that, yeah, it's not going to be your full-fledged viewing experience, but because like everything goes through smartphones these days, you can watch it on that. And people are resourceful. They know how to throw it up on their main television from their smart. Like, there's things that you can do, and it just seems like the NFL is doing the bare minimum right now when it comes to these preseason games.
And this, I think it really grinds my gears now more than ever, because during the COVID seasons, this is how we handled away games when like Altitude couldn't travel. They would just piggyback off of the home feed and they'd plaster the Altitude graphics on top of it. And you would see like the guys were still in studio back
They
home
were in
because
Altitude,
they
right?
weren't traveling. Um, why can't you do that now? Why can't you just put up a bare stream? Um, I know how this works. I deal with this on the day to day. You could
Hmm.
put up a bare stream, no overlays, no nothing. And then
Yeah.
whoever is the away team, they could plaster their stuff up there, sell commercials locally, make it
Mhm.
pay off for putting your studio guys in there. You put your local ads on the bottom. There you go. Everybody watches. Nobody travels. It's all fine. It can be done. They did used to do this. Why can't we do this now?
I don't know. I would be, yeah, I'm not expecting the full experience. Like I said, like even if you didn't put the score bug up there, just as long as the announcer every once in a while just reminds me of the score, like
It
it's a
could be
preseason game.
720p. It doesn't have to be
I don't
4K.
care.
Just give me 720p. Let
Right,
it
but
buffer a little bit. Remind me I'm watching preseason.
yeah, you get the wheel of death like in the middle of the screen every once in a while. Yeah, but just the fact that you have to just go, like I missed a good chunk of the beginning of this game because where you said it was going to be, it wasn't. And I'm just waiting for it to show up. I keep refreshing, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go find other means now. And then eventually you find it. But it's just it was bad. It was bad presentation on just getting the game. And I just feel like we've been doing that all preseason or not at all. When they had the split squad game and the one team that was up in Minnesota got nothing. But and like I think what you said is great. Why you can have Mosier and Peter McNabb in studio and just have them call the Wild, or just set something up like they do with the Manning cast.
Yeah.
Just show the Minnesota Wild feed. Have McNabb and Mosier just BSing about the game. It's a
They could be at
preseason
home.
game. Yes, that would be fine too. Like, I don't need all the bells and whistles. And I'm not just coming down on altitude. I'm just using them as an example. Like, this is going on across the league.
Yeah.
I think they just need to get a little bit more creative and inventive, because that's the way sports are going. The way people digest sports right now is more than just your typical sit on the couch, watch the television. Yes, that's still the main way that people do it, but I mean, the youth of the world is getting creative. They take it with them. You can do it different ways.
You got it right there. You are asking the NHL to be creative and inventive, but for years and years and years, NHL fans have had to be the ones to be creative and inventive. And when you're having to find your preseason games, yes, we've now got comfortable with it being on ESPN Plus and you get to watch every game. It's wonderful. But we used to have to find the pirate streams, the illegal streams. And going to preseason, the fans of the league for like the past 10 years, we're going and opening our drawers and dusting off our pirate our eye patch, and we're like, well, back to
I guess
back
I'm
to the
doing this
old days
again.
we go.
Yeah.
And like, you don't want to condition your fans. If you're not giving me something, I'm going to steal it. That's not good for the league.
Yeah. No. And like I said, it's preseason games. I get that, the amount of people, the amount of interest in preseason clearly is not what it is for regular season, but there is enough interest there for that you should probably take notice of this and do something.
Yep.
It can be minimal, but to do nothing and just say, well, it's just the home team that has a stream. Okay, if you're going to go that route, let me know where I can get it.
Yep.
Because I'll still go watch it.
Like,
I
the
don't get
Avs could even tweet out, like, you could watch the game on the Dallas Stars website and just, like, let it be known.
right. I mean, even for like the Eagles games, like I
Yeah.
subscribe to that, and that's one camera.
Mhm.
Most games, it's one camera right at center ice, just back and forth. They don't do like replays. They don't have other cameras at ice level. Rarely do they do that, and I'm fine with it
Yep.
because I understand it's an AHL team and it's not going to have the money that the NHL. Like, I understand all that. They don't even do that
Yep.
for an NHL preseason game. I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing. And now what we're getting to is a story came out. It was actually on NHL's website that we're talking about being inventive, and this is their method of being inventive is on the boards. They're going to be. We've been seeing it for a little while with ads like on the ice, and on the boards behind the goalies. But now we're getting it pretty much all around, like the lower end of the boards. They're going to be doing it digitally, so it's going to be changing as the game goes on. Let me get to their website to see. Honestly, like, I'm not. I think a lot of people are like kind of up in arms about this.
They must have never seen a soccer game.
They do it, and I don't watch a lot of soccer games.
Oh,
So
it is the
yeah,
norm when it comes to watching, like, a Premier League game. It is the norm. So, it's a blessing and a curse. Like, it will be distracting for probably the first 4 games, and then you're gonna
and then
get
you think
used
you
to it.
forget it. Yeah.
But then you also the plus side, that means the NHL is getting enough ads that we have to keep it rotating. That's a
Well,
good
they'll
sign.
get ads. Yeah,
Yeah,
they'll get enough ads.
money's coming into the league, that's the good thing, but we're
Yeah.
gonna be distracted for a little while.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, people see it, and they kept showing a clip on Twitter, because I think they did this during a preseason game. I think it was a Kraken game that they did it, and I didn't see it, but I saw a clip that somebody put up. And yeah, your eye goes to it when you see it changing for like a second, but it goes right back to the game. You know what I mean? Like, I think we live in an ad. You just listen to us talk about Built Bar. That's how sports are run now, and how everything is run now is through ads. I don't know. I think it's kind of creative. I don't know if they can do that. They should be able to do it. What would be nice is if people are really kind of annoyed by this and they feel like it's taking their eyes away from the action, which I don't think it's going to. And like you said, like, you will get used to this. If they could change, like if they could change the ads that are not in the field of view for the viewer, like when a team's in the offensive zone, if you could change the defensive zone, and then when it comes back, like it's already changed. But to change it while like the action's in that zone, it'll be distracting for a split second. But I don't think it's going to be so egregious where it's like I can't watch my hockey games now. This is like the Fox slap
the
shot
glow
puck,
puck.
the glow puck. Like no, like that was terrible.
What they need to do is every time the whistle blows, change the ad. But when the puck is live,
Yeah,
keep it static, keep it up. But when they blow the whistle, if it's an icing, whatever it is, you just watch everything just change.
yeah. I think, and I don't know I mean, I read quickly on the website. I think it's when you see like those billboards now that are like the digital billboards, that's on a timer.
Yeah.
I think it's every like 15 or 30 seconds, and then it automatically changes. I think this is the same. So I don't know if it like, well, how I'm saying like it'd be nice if the one zone that they're not in is changed so you don't see it on screen. I don't think they're going to do that because it's just on a timer. And if those people are paying for ads, if those businesses are paying for time, and there's probably you pay more money for more time, clearly, they're going to want it up there at the right time and not just, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Are we going to also aren't we supposed to be getting the stats, like the overlays added this year too? The ones that they were experimenting with in the Stanley Cup about like face-off percentages and speeds.
That was an Amazon thing. So unless Amazon sells that to either ESPN or TNT, I don't know if that'll be up on the screen. It might be, or you. I don't know how they were presenting that.
We're going to be watching NHL games in debug mode now.
Yeah,
we're going to have all the stats up there.
No kidding. So I like all this stuff. So I mean, in one breath, we're talking about how they're getting inventive with their advertising, but not so much with their streaming. It's I guess give and take. So you win some, you lose some when you're the
Catch
NHL
22.
fan. It is. So, and as far as the Avalanche go, we haven't seen or heard anything that there's going to be advertisements on their uniforms or their helmets. Now, last year they did start the regular season with the Avalanche logo on their helmets, and then after like a week or two, you got the ball for Ball Arena on their helmets. I don't know. That could happen again. I'm anticipating the helmet one just because we know it happened last year. But you've heard a lot of teams going with the uniform ad, obviously, and the Avs haven't said one way or another if they are or not. I would have to think if they were going with an ad, you would know about it by now.
You would think something would come out, and I mean, we've gone through content day and team pictures, and nothing's happened, and we've seen the ice, and all we need is that Built Bar ad, and we'll be good to go for the season.
Now, how do you feel about a lot of these teams that do have the ads? When you go to their team stores, those are the only jersey they sell with the advertising. Yeah.
In the words of the wise prophet Randy Jackson, that's a no for me, dog.
Yeah, that's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. I think a lot of fans are like, okay, we'll accept the ad on we don't like it. A lot of the purists are like, we've never had ads on jerseys. I don't like ads on jerseys, but I get it. And now if you're going to force me to buy my team's jersey with that ad, fans are like, how's it going to end?
They're not paying me.
Yeah, right. So we'll see. A couple teams already come out and said, we're not doing ads. The Avalanche, like I said, I haven't seen anything or heard anything whether they're doing it one way or another. But each day that it goes on that they don't say anything is one day closer to puck drop. And you would have to think if they start the season without an ad, I mean, they would probably go the remainder of the season without one. I guess you could always just add one at some point, but who knows?
I'll text Chris McFarland about putting a Locked On Avalanche on the jersey.
Bingo. I think we'd all be down for that one. So, all right, everybody. That is going to wrap it up for today. I believe we are doing a crossover with Jack from Locked On Chicago Blackhawks. I know we did one a little while ago with him, but now the season is closer. We're going to do another one with him. And should we announce this No.
Do it.
All right. Next week on Monday, the newest member of the Altitude Broadcasting team, Katie Gauss, is going to join us. That is probably going to be next Tuesday's show. So we kind of confirmed it with her today, and she's going to be joining us next week. Looking forward to that. All right, everybody, that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. For Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, I am Chris Maselli. Thank you for making Locked On Avalanche your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. We'll see you guys tomorrow with likely, like I said, crossover for the Locked On Blackhawks. See you tomorrow.